Here at Roslyn Metro Station, the morning after a train went off the tracks on the orange and blue lines, Metro's investigating what exactly caused this to occur. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. In Roslyn, Rebecca Taranto, News 4. Often the children are forced to dive into the water and untangle trap nets from below the boats. But James nearly lost his life once doing this. By the time he untangled the net, he ran out of breath and hit his head on the bottom of the boat. The next thing he remembers is waking up covered in blood. Joe's Record Paradise is one of the few remaining record stores left in town. And if you're someone who enjoys their vinyl, this is the place to come. The DC Taxi Cab Commission is warning cab drivers to watch their behavior after reports of passengers being attacked. Today's arguments have already begun, but tomorrow begins a new day with a new focus in the debate. How do you know that your information isn't being stolen from a thief in cyberspace? Here in DC, the sun's not out, but that's not stopping anyone, including me. They're demanding change, saying they're not going to take it anymore.
I see people that was turned down by the corporate structure and told to eat cake.
Today, they're occupying Clark.
Friday, we sent 20 qualified African Americans to Clark's job site to get hired. They refused to take an application. The day before, we sent a non-African American. They took his information.
So they're going to the job site to protest what they're saying is discrimination.
Right now, the police are not happy with us. Okay? We're going to get into the street. We're going to take the street. They've told us they're not playing around today. And we're with allies. And we're not trying to get arrested before we get to the job site. We're going to get to the job site. We're going to get to the job site. We're going to get to the job site in solidarity. It's time for district government. It's time for DC residents to hold Clark accountable for its unscrupulous practices and unethical ways. Enough of the discrimination, enough of the racism. Shut them down! Shut them down! Shut them down! Shut them down!
Today, Occupy DC protesters are here at Clark Construction Company saying we want to work, and the police have come out, but they're not commenting.
We ain't going nowhere! We ain't going nowhere! How can I tell my son to get off the couch playing Xbox when I don't have a job? We want to work! We want to work! We want to work!
Pastor George Gilbert says they're not going to let any trucks enter or exit the site and is willing to be arrested if that's what it takes.
I personally brought 15 people here to their site to fill out applications.
People who were DC residents.
I got here and no one would take their application. No one would even talk to them. And I turned away folks who were ready and willing to work. It's just history repeating itself with Dr. King and the Poor People's Campaign.
In Washington, Rebecca Taranto, CNS-TV.
This is Enterprise, the very first space shuttle that was built.
After 27 years at the Air and Space Museum in Chantilly, it's the end of an era for Enterprise. Tomorrow, Discovery Shuttle's riding piggyback on a 747 from Florida to take its place. You'll be able to look up and see it flying low.
We're going up to the 7th floor.
The planes come in from this distance and they come in right over these trees.
I think it's a beautiful sight. I hope we can get out here and see it tomorrow.
Anyone in the DC metro area will be able to see Discovery making 2 victory laps around town for this historic celebration.
An amazing thing to see with it on the back of that 747.
Attached at 3 points to the 747, Discovery will be lifted off with a crane. But if you want to see it up close, get here early. Doors open at 8 a.m. for 8,000 people to see Discovery glide into the runway. And then it's bye-bye Enterprise. As Enterprise Shuttle makes its exit through the back doors of the museum on Thursday, it'll sit nose to nose with Discovery Shuttle right before Discovery Shuttle takes the place right here.
We will have these doors open, and this panel right over the center opening of the door will be removed.
Its new home will be New York's intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum.
It is bittersweet. I mean, it was such an exciting thing in our lifetime to see the shuttles.
Some parents are even taking their kids out of school.
I'm really excited. My teacher basically said that if I brought back pictures, I'd get credit for the day still.
From generation to generation, it's an event few will be able to forget.
I remember watching launches when I was a kid. I remember the Challenger launch. I remember sitting there with my whole class and the whole school actually and watching it go up and everything. So this is exciting to just see one in person.
Just a couple of days left to say goodbye Enterprise and welcome home Discovery. In Chantilly, Rebecca Taranto, News 4.
Food, rent, gas, necessary evils.
Carlos Tovar knows he'll have to cut back on leisure activities to continue to afford his commute.
63.
But he also understands the increase is intended to create jobs through the Transportation Trust Fund.
If the way they propose it is supposed to actually work, then I guess we can take one more for the team.
Marylanders currently pay 23.5 cents a gallon in gas taxes. Adding another 15 cents to that is digging too deep for some drivers.
The last thing we need is more money out of our pockets being spent on gas.
Filling up at this gas station could set you back about $50. And adding on to that with the new proposed tax increase could set you back another $2.25 each time you hit the tank. AAA had this to say. AAA Mid-Atlantic supports a gas tax increase only with absolute assurances that the money raised from the Maryland motorists is spent on transportation projects. The 15-cent proposed increase would propel Maryland's gas tax to the top spot in the nation. Try telling someone with a daily 40-mile commute they might see another hike at the pump.
We need to negotiate with the price on that. Instead of 15, we need to do something in the middle.
After 2 decades of a steady gas tax, a Maryland gas tax hike could soon influence how you navigate to work. In College Park, Rebecca Taranto, CNS-TV.